I already sent it in the email. Quick time for that. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon and welcome to the BAF webinar series for educators. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now so that we all can see my face. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us at the maiden edition of the BAF webinar series for educators. My name is I have my colleagues on this call with us, John Closer, as well as Obigu Akodikere. These are the people that we work with at the foundation. On behalf of the board of directors, the board of trustees of the foundation, we welcome everyone, especially our facilitators and speakers. Okay, sorry, I had to pause a bit. We are currently broadcasting live on YouTube, so I'd encourage those of us that are unable, if for one reason or the other, to be able to stay on the Zoom platform or whatever, you can also connect on YouTube. Okay, so we're going to share that link to the WhatsApp community platform that we have. So if you haven't joined the WhatsApp group for this webinar series, I'd encourage you to please do so, so that you can continue to enjoy updates around this webinar series as well as other developing matters in the sector. So this afternoon, we have 2 solid hours, 120 minutes, and I've already used 4 out of my own time. I'll quickly take you through the few objectives and the agenda for this afternoon's webinar meeting. But before I continue, I'd like to know how excited we are. If you're excited to be here today, let me see. Yes, I see a few people posting happy. An adjective that describes what you're looking out for today, an adjective that describes your expectation for today's session. Just one adjective that describes Okay. Thank you. I can see people that are reacting. Maiden Edition, thank you very much. I believe you can hear me now. Mind-blowing, yes. Inspired, excited, yes. That's explaining what our expectation is for today. Looking forward to a new experience, elated, interactive, yes. It's going to be interactive. I'm excited. The video will be recorded. We're currently recording, and then we're going to share the link to download the video with everyone that registered after the meeting, as well as you can see a copy of this recorded video on YouTube. We're going to also share or you just go to the Bumi Adedayo Foundation YouTube channel to access the video. Quickly, let me take us through what is expected of us today. This is the first of 7 webinars, meaning that from today, we're going to have, today being the first Thursday, we're going to have 6 more Thursdays together, 3 to 5 p.m. every day. So I encourage you to go and mark your calendar. It's practically all Thursdays in August, as well as the first 2 Thursdays in September. And of course, today being the first Thursday that we are hosting this. Quickly, let me take us through the objectives. The objective of this webinar series is to reduce the incidence of out-of-school children as a result of the pandemic. And we're going to launch a quick poll right now as I take us through the objective. You will see a poll that will pop up on your screen, and then just respond to the poll, and then we continue the session. You'll still hear me speaking, so the poll will pop up on your screen, and then you'll be able to respond to it. Once you submit it, it's going to close, and then we go ahead with the screen that we're sharing. So while you take the poll, the objective is to reduce the incidence of out-of-school children as a result of the pandemic by empowering teachers for teaching, right? We know that a lot of teachers are currently not teaching, while some are definitely teaching, while some are preparing to teach. Whichever way it is, we know that there are people that are currently going to benefit from being able to teach remotely or through distance learning. Another objective is to get children from cannot access education to start learning. At the end of this series, a lot of participants will be empowered with the knowledge they need to carry out learning wherever they are, whether it is in your immediate environment or remotely. So you're going to be able to deliver learning as it is to those that need it. So we're going to also, the objective is also to further prepare educators for the seemingly inevitable blended learning approach that the post-COVID-19 era requires. And of course, we're going to be addressing specific subject pedagogy to teachers across core subject areas like literacy, numeracy, and science. We're going to be addressing teaching specific methodology that is required to achieve learning objectives in certain subject areas. We're going to link up educators to available school support services. So BAF has a school support service desk, and that we're going to link up educators who are in need of these services to the school support services, where you can access a pool of consultants and facilitators that belong to the BAF faculty. And of course, finally, we're going to build a community of educators across Nigeria that will jumpstart the content uptake on the BAF LMS platform. So the agenda for the day is what you're seeing on your screen right now. I'm already taking the welcoming and baseline polls and speaker introductions. I hope we have seen the poll on our screen and we've taken the polls. Okay, let me see if I can launch the poll from my end here. Okay, just a second. All right, let's just continue. We're going to launch the poll as soon as we have that working. We're expecting a keynote inspiration address from the Honorable Commissioner for Education, after which we'll introduce the first speaker, and then we have the first speaker take us through a 30-minute deep dive session of learning. Afterwards, we're going to introduce a second speaker, and we're going to take another 30 minutes of deep dive learning. And then finally, we have the questions and answers. We're deliberately using a meeting and not a webinar because we want to encourage interaction between participants, okay? So you can post your questions. Once you have your question, we're not going to wait to take questions in between. No, all questions will be compiled and then we'll take the questions at the end. Now, when you're posting your questions, we expect that you put your name, the facilitator that you are asking the question, and then your question straight to the point. We're not going to be opening voice. So we're going to interact strictly via the chat room so that we can save time. We have only 120 minutes and we do not have much extra time that we want to spend, okay? I can see your comments. We are monitoring from our own end. We have various devices that we are using to monitor. The sound delivery is kind of clear. So you may want to check your network. If you can't hear us clearly, you may want to check your network, okay? We're going to take the pause now. Okay, we've removed the annotation. Thank you. Whoever is joining on the screen, yes, will stop. Yes, I've taken out the annotations. Thank you. Do we have the post coming on? Okay, while we wait for the post to come on, I'd like to quickly take some time off the screen to confirm the presence of the Honorable Commissioner, because that's the first activity for this afternoon. Please enjoy the music of I Will Never Say Never by Justin Bieber while I get things sorted. Thank you. Hello, ma. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Mun chat will open since ya. Okay, I'm back. I hope we enjoy the music. I also hope that we are ready to go into the afternoon's meet. Okay, I have the Honorable Commissioner on the platform with us, and I'm not sure if I should really be reading her profile because I think it's something that we all know, but let me do that honor because we need to give honor to whom honor is due. Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo has been a very wonderful individual, both to the foundation, the Bumi Adedayo Foundation. She's been quite supportive of our work, and to many other non-profit organizations out there. I also know that she's been doing her own bits in supporting, private sector growth in the area of education. Of course, because she came in also from the private sector, where she has over 40 years of experience in the sector. This afternoon, Mrs. Folashade Adefisayo is going to be delivering a keynote address, which is mainly to inspire us and to set the tone for this wonderful meeting. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to spotlight Mrs. Adefisayo. Please, the moment I find you, I'm going to spotlight you, but please, ma, you have the floor while I find you to spotlight you. Thank you, ma.
Aha. Hello, good afternoon. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, ma. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm sorry you are going to be hearing sounds. I left Lagos over 3 hours ago, but I'm still on the expressway. So you please hear horns and cars around. Please pardon me. I thought by now I would be in Ibadan comfortably, but
Okay.
Good afternoon. Thank you. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, the conveners of this program. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate the efforts that Bumi Adedayo Foundation is putting into the improvement of education in Lagos State. I've been involved with them directly and indirectly, I will say. And all I can see here and all I'm proud about is that passion and desire to make a difference, to change the lives of children, especially children from a certain socio-economic background who do not really have the advantages that children from richer families have. This is, of course, in line with the dream of the remarkable Bumi Adedayo himself, who in his lifetime was determined to make a difference in the lives of children, and he did it quietly, without noise, but influencing many children. And so I'm proud to be part of that, in my own way, to be part of that great story that you are telling. The education sector in our country is in dire straits now, and we know why, because of this because of the COVID pandemic has thrown into light the lack of investment that we've made in previous years in providing good quality education for all children, regardless of socioeconomic background, regardless of religion, sex, gender, where they live, what their parents do. It's clear that we have not invested enough. And I think this is what this pandemic is throwing up. And while sometimes I have wondered that, God, why did you not make me a commissioner many years ago? Why is it now? I guess there must be a reason for it being now. And I hope that when we all come together like this, we'll be able to talk about how to solve the problem. One of the major problems I have seen is the quality of teaching and learning. Of course, the quality of the other things, infrastructure, chairs and tables, and IT investment is inadequate. But the most critical factor in any school system is the quality of teaching and learning. And that is why I'm glad that educators are coming together and more to learn from each other. It's always been a lonely profession. You sit inside your classroom, you teach the number of children in your class, and that's that. But now we are seeing that we can learn from each other. We can learn each other's classroom practices. We can even go out and we can even go to each other's class and learn from each other. So for me, I'm excited about this, and I hope that you will learn about all the things that make one a great teacher in the classroom, a great educator. Of course, at the heart of it, at the risk of preempting any of your teachers, I will just talk for a few minutes, but at the heart of it is your passion and a vision for the children in your class. I don't know any teacher who is successful without being committed to the well-being and welfare of the students. Number one is that is your job. And as they say, we are in loco parentis. That is, we are their parents in that particular environment that we found ourselves. And being their parents, that means that we must be loving, we must be caring, we must want them to do well. We must do everything we can to make sure that every child does well. We cannot afford to be partial. We must love every child. The naughty boy in your class is very lovable. I hope you have seen the video of that little boy who said his mommy should calm down. Oh, I love that boy. And I wish I were his teacher, because I know he will entertain the class. He would be troublesome in class, but he's probably extremely intelligent. And therefore, he would be like an adornment to any class that he's in. So I think that's number one, the love and passion and vision for the children in your care. And secondly, yourself as a professional, you should understand what good teaching is. I attended a course once and they said, what is good teaching? And some people said, oh, a teacher who dresses well, who does that. Yeah, it's good. You must be a role model. So therefore you must look good. You must look decent. Your students must see you and not see you as somebody they would rather not be like. But they must see you as somebody who is worthy of emulation. But I think your professionalism, your understanding of how children learn. How do children learn? What makes them really learn? Your understanding of, once you know how children learn, then how do I engage them as a teacher so that they learn whatever it is I'm teaching them? Then after you've taught them, how do I assess properly that they are learning? You must understand language, the language of education. You must understand words like formative assessment, summative assessment, pedagogy, and so on. Because the pedagogy of maths is different from the pedagogy of English. The pedagogy of physics is different from the pedagogy of biology. That means, and of course, pedagogy is the nexus of teaching and learning and curriculum. So you must understand how best learners learn, which brings me now to curriculum. You must understand the curriculum that you are teaching. You must study. Teachers should be cerebral people, people well-read, people who are clever and smart, people who will go over this curriculum. What am I supposed to teach the children? How best can I teach them? What are the best ways to engage my learners? What topics do I have? What's this week's topic? Go and read up more about it. So beyond your passion and vision, you must be a professional with a thorough understanding of that wonderful job that you have been called to. And then apart from that, you must have other, we are teaching 21st century children. We too should be 21st century teachers, in which case we should be great collaborators. Collaborate with other people, build up your own learning team, people who will support your learning, people from whom you can learn, and people who you can teach as well, people with whom you can exchange ideas about teaching. So again, you must make yourself a good collaborator, a good team player wherever you find yourself. You must be somebody who is creative, because you not always have everything you need to teach, but you can use the things that are around you to teach. I remember one of my teachers many years ago, every time, towards WAEC, the students would be dispirited, tired, fed up of studying. So he would have a game for them, and he would hide clues under the trees, under tables and chairs. So you will see SS3 seniors running around the school like little children, looking for clues. What is the tree that has so dichotinous or whatever leaf or so on? They would run around the school and look for it. And of course, the students always did well because they enjoyed how he taught biology in a very, practical, interesting way. And that's because he studied a lot. He talked to a lot of people. He was very creative. He was a very exciting teacher. And I too loved going to his class. And maybe if he had taught me biology, like I told him, maybe I would be a doctor today. Not that I regret not being one. I think this is a better job. So apart from being creative and innovative and so you have to be a problem solver, because you will have that student in your class who is troublesome, who is difficult, who is introverted, doesn't talk to anybody, doesn't take part in lessons, doesn't do his homework. You have to find out why. You cannot ascribe it to all sorts of reasons. You must say, why is this child not learning? How can I reach this child? You know that sometimes you, the teacher, can be the difference in the success or failure of a child in life because of the love you show that child and the quality of teaching that you give that child. So these are all the things that the teacher needs. And of course, I always would preach digital literacy. I don't understand how this technological revolution can be going on and you won't be part of it. You must be part of it. It is essential. It is the future. Nobody is going to be able to survive in the world that we are going into if they are not global, if they are not digitally literate. And digital literacy doesn't mean just using Word and PowerPoint. It's also understanding how you can use the superb ability of technology to improve your own craft, your own profession, and your own productivity as a person. So having said this, I counsel all of us, even as you go through all these papers that you are going to go through, to listen, to grow, to learn, to build relationships. It's very difficult in these COVID times to build relationships across Zoom, but it's possible. I've met some people and I just started, oh, I saw you on Zoom. I saw you on Zoom. So you can make friends and relationships because they will help you grow in your profession. Once again, I thank Bumi Adedayo Foundation. I assure you that I will always respect and appreciate your contribution to the growth of education in Lagos State. It's no mean feat what you are doing, because you have a focus and you have never diverted from that focus. And in that focus, you are succeeding and achieving great learning outcomes. I thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this. I apologize once again for the noise in the background. We are still in traffic, and that accounts for the noise. Thank you very much. Have a great learning session. I will try and stay in the room as well. Thank you.
Wow, thank you very much, Ma. Thank you, thank you. Please, can we all show our appreciation to the Honorable Commissioner in the chat room? Can we all say something to thank the Honorable Commissioner, the mother of education in Lagos State? Thank you very much, Ma. Bumi Adedayo Foundation appreciates you. We appreciate your love and the way you give yourself, most especially to the cause of education. We will never take this for granted. And we have taken down a whole lot. My note is actually full from the little that you have said. Thank you very much, Ma. We pray that you have journey messages and that we'll be happy to still have you on the platform as we proceed to other activities for today. Thank you very much, Ma. Before we continue, I want all participants, as many as possible, to post one thing that you learned from the just concluded keynote remark by the Honorable Commissioner. I took down a lot of things here, but I want to hear from you. While you're typing, let me also just read out a few of what I took down while she was speaking. You must understand the pedagogy of what you are teaching. You must understand the curriculum. She said teachers must be cerebral people. You must know the best way to engage your learners. These are some of the things that the Honorable Commissioner said. She said, you must be a problem solver. Yes, understand the language of teaching, collaborate with people. Thank you, Nike. You must be part of technology, power of creativity, collaboration. Yes, teachers should be willing, teachers should be well-read. Thank you. Teachers must be passionate. Oyinlola, thank you. You may not always have everything you need to teach, but I miss that. Yes, but you can make the best of what is available to you. Passionate about your learners. COVID-19 exposes a state of investment. Yes, we understand. Thank you very much, everyone, for the powerful attention that you paid while the Honorable Commissioner was speaking. Now, let's quickly move on to the first speaker of this session. I'll ask that the back-end team should please go ahead to make Mrs. Da Silva a co-host, even as I quickly introduce a session. So we're going to hear from, please, whoever is drawing lines on the screen should please desist from doing that. It's distracting us. Please, I'll be happy to have you adhere as an educator. Stop touching your screen. Let us read what we have to read. Okay, Mrs. Olufunmilayo Da Silva graduated from the University of Lagos in 1984 with a bachelor's degree in science and education, BSc Education Biology. She has a wide and practical teaching experience, having worked with Corona Schools Trust Council, Nigeria, as a science teacher for 19 years, 12 primary schools and 4 secondary schools that have students from various backgrounds in the United Kingdom. She has a great knowledge of the British national curriculum. She is a qualified and registered teacher, both in Nigeria and the United Kingdom. She is currently head of school at a quality-conscious Montessori school in Lagos. Mrs. Funmilayo Da Silva has a good understanding of behavioral management strategies and has successfully organized and facilitated several trainings and workshops in schools for teachers, students, and educators in Nigeria. Mrs. Da Silva is currently the lead consultant at Outstanding Edu Consults. Ladies and gentlemen, I will stop sharing my screen now as I bring on Mrs. Da Silva, who will be taking on the topic, deep dive on learning applications required for literacy, numeracy, and basic science. Deep dive for learning applications required for literacy, numeracy, and basic sciences. Mrs. Da Silva, we would like to give you the floor so that you can take us through the next 30 minutes. Thank you. Mrs. Da Silva, please can you unmute yourself? Thank you. Can you unmute yourself? Okay, apologies for the mix-up. I think I mixed up the second topic for the first. So the first topic is effective assessment and feedback management system for online distance learning. Effective assessment and feedback management system for online distance learning. That is the topic that Mrs. Da Silva is taking us on. I'm going to unmute her now so that she can, okay. Mrs. Da Silva, I've asked you to unmute. Please look at your screen and unmute yourself. You can unmute on your screen. I've asked you to unmute. Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be on the platform, and like I was introduced by Mr. Martins, I'm going to be talking about effective, about assessment and effective feedback systems. I'm going to try and share my screen. Technology always seems to play a fast one-on-one. So the minute, please. Thank you. While we're waiting, could you please put in the chat, let me have about 2 or 3 things you're expecting from this workshop, from this particular one, from mine. Thank you. Well, your expectation, yes. Approach to online assessment. That's from, yes, Mr. Adekobe. Thank you. My topic is assessment and feedback. That's abbreviation. And that's from Ijoma. She's asking, what is my topic? Thank you. My technology has failed. Can the backup team please share my slides? I'm not been allowed to share. So please, can you share my slides, the copies with you? Thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Toyin.
That'll be done shortly.
Thank you. Ms. Toyin is saying, yes, I'm having to learn new online feedback assessment tools. Well done, Ms. Toyin. Thank you. Ms. Oyewole Ronke is saying she cannot see anything. That's for the technical scheme. Victoria Abiola is saying assessing learning and outcome online. Fantastic. Arode is saying better way of assessing my learner. Well done. We've got 1 more minute for this. I'm sure the technical team will soon upload my slides. And yes, I start with Ms. Arode, who said better way to feedback. Yes, how to teach better. Well done, Ms. Titilayo. Feedback, Mr. Abbas, ready to learn new feedback assessment, Ms. Monisola. And then we have effective assessment feedback system from Oluwa Tobilola. That's exactly what I said. And then Mr. Edwards is saying that everything about, so Mr. Aki Alamu, thank you. Everything about assessment in 30 minutes. I'm trying to do that once my slides are up, and they're trying to do that now. And I'm also having a new normal in feedback assessment. Yeah, that's from Osa, excuse me for not murdering your name, sorry. Then how to assess an effect, Jackson. A better way to teach and get effective feedback from Ebere. Yes, my slides are up and we're up and running. Now, so the effective feedback, effective assessments and feedback management for online learning. Now, assessment. Yes, it says here that is it all about the learning or the score? The learning or the score? I'm so sorry. Sometimes you think you're prepared, but that's technology. Thank God for that. Is it about the learning or the score? Most of us seem to make assessment. When you hear assessment, wow, it's test time. The children are scared. Test time, the parents are scared. And what they make from this is it's just about the scores, but it's not meant to be all about the scores. I'm having to depend on technical, so please, next slide. Something I didn't want to do. No, so by the end of this webinar, everyone should be able to explain the following. What assessment is. What is assessment to you? Because then everybody should be able to Say what and why we assess. What exactly are you assessing and why do we assess? When should we assess? How should we assess? And the format we should use when we are setting our assessment and exam questions. When we've done all that, you've done all the okay, how, when, what, how do you then give the feedback of these assessments to the different learners, the different strata of learners? You know, you have different strata of learners. Okay, we're going on, and so we're going to have a poll at this junction. We've had a pre-poll. We won't have a poll now, and so fastest finger. Let's see. Says, assessment can be referred to as a method or tools used to evaluate academic readiness, learning progress, and educational needs. Is this true or false? Assessment can be referred to as a method of tool or all tools used to evaluate academic readiness, learning progress, and educational needs of learners. Is this true or false? Next, I'm sure because we have very fast fingers here, and I'm sure they are abreast of what we're doing. Can we go on, please? Okay.
So we have the second poll and the third poll.
I think we should go on to the next slide, please, on the PowerPoint. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. On the screen, I want to remove the poll so we can go on to what we're saying. Assessment seeks to know what the other person knows and how much he or she knows. Because if you can't measure something, you definitely can't work on it. So that's what assessment seeks to do. Next slide, please. Why do we assess? Each one of the board, as they drop one by one, we assess so that we can ascertain how much the learners learned. Can they apply the knowledge acquired? Has it improved them in any way? Are they ready to go on to the next level of the topic, subject or class? Yes. Can I have the other two drop, please? Thank you. How well have they learned? What exactly have they learned? And finally, what needs to be retaught? What could have been taught better? These are the questions that pop up when you're asking yourself, why am I doing this assessment? Why do I want to assess these learners? Now, what can you say about this? Now I want people to let me, fastest fingers, let's see. I'll just take maybe the first three. When you see this, teaching, assessing, learning, what comes to your mind, please? I'm looking at the chat now. What comes to your mind? Quickly, just 1 minute. What comes to your mind? Nobody's typing. Are you tired? Okay, since I can't see anybody typing. Teaching, assessing, learning. They're all interwoven. And yes, I can see some learning outcome. Wonderful. All-round teaching. Well done. Monisola Ladele, well done. And the interrelationship, Ms. Tony Emialu, well done. And then finally, teaching. So next slide, we talked about teaching, assessing, learning. They're all interrelated. Now, as experienced teachers, many people online right now watching and listening to us, they're all experienced. So I have these questions because it's this particular training is about assessment. And so before you teach, you need to know what your learners know. What is this type of assessment called? Fastest fingers, holistic acquisition. Now, that's not what I asked. Entry behavior, fantastic. That must be a very old school person. They all go hand in hand. One, yes, that's the last one. From Sophia, from Lawa, previous knowledge. Good. That's what they used to call it, previous knowledge. Okay. How about good formative assessment? Somebody said that. Well done. Previous knowledge. I'm going to go on to the next question. Formative assessment. Well done, Tolu. Well done. Blessing. Previous knowledge. So the second question says, when you're teaching, you need to know if you're learning and following, if your learners are following as you guide. Remember, we're no longer in the era of you listen and then everything I say, that's what you're learning. You're guiding learning. We're guides now to guide learning. And so when you're teaching, and you need to know if the learner is learning and following as you guide, what can you tell? Okay, can you tell can you tell me, who can tell me how you do this in your class, no matter the age? How do you make sure that you know if they're learning and following as you guide? Yes, ask questions. Ms. Eunice, well done. Any other person? You ask questions through assessment, fantastic. Sefta, Oluwafem Ayoaba, asking questions, Titi, well done. Through eye contact, excellent. Using formative assessment, well done. I can see that I have very experienced teachers on board. I'm going on to the last question because of the time. Remember our lesson on differentiation. Can you write one phrase to describe what it means to you? What does differentiation mean to you? Fastest fingers. What does differentiation mean to you? Okay. Well, the second poll has come up somehow. Assessment can refer to as the method or tools for that. What should you be? When should learning be assessed? Why do you assess learning? Okay, we've had that. But we're asking this question now. What does differentiation, individual differences, well done. Individual learning from Sophia, well done. According to ability, Olusegun, fantastic. Passing it, good. Reaching everyone, fantastic. Wow, I have such excellent teachers on board, engaging all of them. From Ajayi, psychology of the learner, wow, that's a deep one. And then from Abbas Moraya to all, ability to cut across, fantastic. And then we have the last question, I'm sorry I have to go on. At midterm or the end of term, when you assess your learners, what type of assessment is this? Wow, let's see. Not leave anyone behind. Yeah. Summative, so Teptica, fantastic. Bumi, well done. Summative, wow. I've got these experienced teachers. And what am I doing here teaching? They know all about it. Well done. Summative, excellent. Can I have the next slide, please? Who benefits when we are assessing? Who benefits? We have, for the assessment of the assessee, our learners are the assessees. We are assessing their learning. The person whose performance is assessed. Sometimes teachers are being assessed as well. It's not only the teachers, it's not only the children, and the school is being assessed. What about for evaluation? Who benefits? The external stakeholders, the parents, the education board, the decision makers, they all benefit from assessment. Next slide, please. Yes, both. All stakeholders from Abbas, well done. From Grace, well done. Both learners and teachers, well, both teacher and learners, excellent. I'm having such excellent feedback, both, well done. Can I have the next slide, please? Okay. Now, this picture, we have visual learners amongst us. When you see this picture, all these pictures, all these icons, what have all these got in common? What can you use them for? What have they got in common? What have they got in common? I need to see your answers. Assessment, wow. Okay, remote learning, yes, I like that. Remote learning, virtual teaching from Eunice, well done. Abayomi, TNL platform, yes. From Olusegun, I've just one slide shared, wow. Well, from Jackson, communicate. So all these are platforms through which we perform our online learning, the new normal. This is our classroom now. These are the classroom platforms in which we use to teach our children. And then from teaching and guiding learning, we need to be able to know just how much they've learned. And so they are all online learning tools, all done. Techno Prover, whoever that is, collaboration. From Edna, yes, I can see a response. Egbeni, passing information. Can I have the next slide, please? Virtual teaching and learning, excellent. From Raymond, online teaching, well done. Next slide, please. Remote learning tools, team learning. The next slide, please. From Ibida for online learning tools. Yes, online. From Buki and Yolaja, learning platforms, the new normal. It is the new normal. This time in January, February, we were not using these platforms as such. We didn't have to use them. So these that we can see Zoom, we can see Google Classroom, WhatsApp, we can see Telegram, we can see Messenger. They are all the current new normal forms from which we do our social media, social media online learning. Very good. E-learning, EduTech. Well, I like all these names. Can the technical team put on the next slide, please? Thank you. Home teaching lesson, yes. Now, we have, this is an incomplete slide. Next slide. Thank you. Virtual learning tools, that's true, from Suleiman, communication, excellent. Excellent. Wow. Now, how can we set questions on the Google Classroom platform? I've narrowed it down. I showed a number of online platforms, and I narrowed it down to these two. They seem to be the most popular for now. So on the Google Classroom platform, how can we set questions? Remember, we're talking about assessment in the new normal. Well, we know that the Google Classroom has a section where it has where we have the icon is there. It says questions, and you have quiz, you have assignment questions, material, you use post. It has given you a wide range. Now, often as not, it's made teaching assessment a bit easier, because when you click on the quiz, you set the quiz, you put answers, and it marks itself. But I wanted to say that there should be a format in a way when you're setting these assessments, so that you can test every strata, every type of learner. The section A is in 3 major sections that I always I advise. Section A, open-ended, multiple choice. Let's let our children think critically. Let's stop feeding them and then encouraging cram and pour. When they think, when you set an open-ended question like how or what, or those are open and they have to think, instead of Nigeria getting independence in dash. There's only one answer. They're not encouraging them. Now, so we have multiple choice questions in section A. In section B, you have closed-ended, because you need to be able to encourage the people that are not really very, very high ability to at least find their level, because every child matters. These are true and false questions, yes and no. So if they cram it, they can pour it, because the answers will definitely be easy to recall. Section C, theory questions that need matching, drawing and labeling, and recording facts that can be put into definitions, explanations, analysis, high order questioning for high ability. So by the time you set your questions and put them on the online platforms, you can get a balanced feedback. And once the children or your learners are aware that it's really about them, it's to know just how much they have understood in what you've taught them and where the areas they need that they're struggling are, then you're going to have a bit of integrity. Right now, I think we're struggling with the integrity aspect, because a lot of people are being helped, and they're able to just Google, set the text there, what's the answer for A, what's the answer to B, and all that one. But as time goes on, we believe that the vision for integral assessment will be grabbed by our learners. Next slide, please. So yes, it says observe challenges to online learning compared to the physical classroom. Yes, I said, because online learning, if they don't learn, what are you assessing? So how do you get them to learn when they can't focus? So you got to focus to learn for you to assess. So how do you get them to focus? And what are the challenges? So it says here a number of, just put all of them there. Yes, then people can read as they go on. This particular format takes a great deal of effort to get the younger children interested. Then they lack the participation of the teacher. And so the parents, parents are struggling. They're trying to do their own work online, and they're trying to help the children. So you have focus is a major issue. And there's so much impatience on the part of some of our parents when they're not willing to embrace, and they're not willing to embrace this change. They hurriedly want to go back to the old ways, and yet they want their children to be gurus in the computer. they want them to do coding and all that. But this particular new normal needs for commitment of parents, more commitment than in the past. So we need for them to focus. We need parents to help us. It's a joint effort venture for them to be able to focus, for us to get the learning in. Next slide, please. So you see the man frowning there. He's frowning because as a teacher, he's frustrated. Okay, the next slide says, how then do you give feedback to improve learning? Can you everybody jot down, fastest fingers, how do you give feedback effectively to improve learning? Remember that these are the questions that you need to be asking yourself when you are judging the effective feedback. What went well? What was done well during your online lesson? Number two, what went wrong and what wasn't done well during the online lessons? Number three, what was revealed as a gray area that needs to be worked on for the learner during the online lessons? All this are the questions you need to be asking yourself before you can answer that question that I asked you. How do you then give effective feedback to improve learning? Let's see, I have effective feedback from parents. Yes, Femi Patrick says via class evaluation. Yes, from Titi, effective communication, very key. Well done, Titi. Any other fast fingers to tell us how you effectively feedback to improve learning for different levels? Okay, just the three people. Can we go on to the next slide, please? Because they've given excellent responses. Next slide, please. Effective online feedback for the older learners. The top right shows the older ones, the seniors in secondary school, the ones that, pretend as if it's not cool to seem interested in learning. Well, when you are giving feedback for them, you need to be specific and less ambiguous. Yes, that was an excellent essay, Tokwe, but don't you think you could have added A, B, Y, and A, B, C? Then that was awesome. What exactly was awesome? Because when you tell them exactly what was awesome, then the praise is more effective. They can go ahead and state the correction. It would have even been better if you had, used this phrase or make it shorter or extend it a bit. You are giving specific feedback. Now, feedback should come in an encouraging tone so it doesn't become counter-effective. Can you all remember your worst teacher in school? My worst teacher in school always frowned. And when she was telling you, you can't do anything well, you can't be good, you don't know anything now, empty head, very stupid. You shouldn't give feedback in a tone that is not encouraging, no matter the stature of the children. Next slide, please. So we've talked about the older children, the ones in secondary schools, their feedback, the way you should feedback them. For the younger learners, the ones in the elementary, I don't know who scribbles. I know it's an elementary page, but now for the younger child in elementary, feedback should be personalized. For example, you include the child's name. Oh, that was wonderful, Yusuf. You finished on time. Beautiful. And then it should be timely. Not that you give them assessment today. Then now you're going to feedback maybe next week. That's not going to help. It's not effective enough. It should be timely. The moment you give them assessment, try and mark and feedback. Let them know what they've done right, what they've done wrong. It should include the use of audio. It's online, and they need to be able to connect with you. So you can put a voice note, and make sure that your videos are audible. They are posting videos to teach. They must be qualitative and they must be engaging. Yes, please. Next one. And then the feedback for this level of training can take the form of hosting a one-on-one meeting via Zoom, especially for the additional needs children. You can feedback via Zoom. You organize a Zoom session and you tell him or her, eyeball to eyeball, so to say, what went wrong, what he or she is doing well. In my school, once a week, every Friday, we have a class Zoom meeting. So everybody gets to see each other. Oh, hello, Anita. Oh, hello. And then the teacher asks them about the challenges they've had or what topic And then they all get to share because it's their class, the community meeting. Okay, for the youngest, those little ones, the toddlers, the under 5-year-olds, how do you give them feedback? You can make use of stickers. Well done. Proud of you. Make use of stickers and emojis, as these go a long way for the children. They should be given in good and appropriate choice of descriptive words. Wow, you worked so hard. I can see what you've done. And there should be positive reinforcement and acknowledgement of improvement. I noticed that you're now coloring within the line. Beautiful. Keep doing that. And then use appropriate voice tone. Voice tone matters to the secondary, to the primary school, to the nursery school. Your tone is very important. It enhances the quality of feedback. Next slide, please. Okay. Then finally, we're at the end of this webinar and we got to see we've met our objectives. Can everybody explain what assessment is? Check. I need to see a show of hands. Can you all explain what assessment is? I can't see any hands being raised up. Any hands? Okay, I can't see. Next one. It means nobody can explain. Thank you. Oluwatobilola. Okay, Tunde, thank you very much. She's showing that he understands. Thank you. What about the next objective? Thank you, Victoria. Can everybody explain what and why we assess? Good. I'm seeing a yes, ma, from Nick Edimeji. I said you should put a show of hands, though. Yes, yes. Fantastic. I'm encouraged. Next objective, please. Well done. Thank you. Assessment is well done. Can everybody explain when should we assess? Is everybody clear on that? I'm saying yes. Osayine, yes. Good. Olubokola, yes. Abayoba, yes. Thank you very much. And the other one, next one, please. How should we assess? The format. Is everybody clear about the format we should use to assess? Good. Polaremi, thank you. And finally, second to the last, platforms we should use in setting assessments. You have different platforms. Does everybody recall what we discussed? Thank you, Arode. Thank you. Blessing. I can see that. Regina, well done. Thank you, Edward. Okay, and finally, does everybody know how to give feedback online to different strata of learners? Can I have, yes. Okay, Miriam, thank you. Thank you. Yes, very well. Wow, from joy. Thank you so much. I had a blast. And even though I was discouraged by my laptop packing up, I am so encouraged. Thank you for being part of this session. God bless you. Any questions, please put them on the chat forum so we can go to that quickly. I think I have a bit of time. You're very welcome.
Yes.
Wow.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Da Silva. Can we give
welcome.
Mrs. Da Silva an Atama? Those who know what Atama is. And can we give her a round of applause? It's like this,
wow.
right? The reaction, impeccable. Good job, ma. Thank you, ma.
Thank you so much.
Okay, I really appreciate you, ma. Kudos to you, ma. Well done. Okay, so clap, clap, clap. That's what Ekiomado. Yes, thank you, ma, from Mr. Akialamu. Yes. Wow. That was an awesome session.
Thank you so much.
Tools. Thank you very much, Mrs. Da Silva. Please hang in there. We're going to have questions. In fact, I've seen so many questions, and my colleague Obigwe is already curating and collating the questions so that we can take this question and answers during the last 30 minutes of the session. I believe that we've all learned, some of us have learned something new. Some have learned, been reminded of what they already know, right? While some, I believe that you must have been reminded or you have learned something new. There is no way you will forget what you've known by this session. Am I correct? Okay, so thank you very much, Ma. Keep posting your questions. We're going to take them right after the second session. I'd like to quickly go on to the second speaker. By the way, I need to mention that we are honored this afternoon to have members of the board of directors of Bumedaya Foundation right on this channel with us. They're listening to the webinar. You know, that shows how much they care about what we do. at the foundation. So we thank them for joining us. We're excited. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma, for joining the webinar this afternoon. Okay, so quickly, I'd like to introduce the next speaker in person of David Ugiomo. I hope I didn't murder the name. David is a teacher and IT administrator who is passionate about the use of technology in driving teaching and learning in the education sector. He has a background in computer science and network facilities management. David teaches computer programming to children. During the COVID-19 pandemic, school shutdown, David championed the online school initiative for his organization, where he trained all members of staff and parents on how to use various platforms to create and host classes online. He is also a food photographer and has worked with some major brands. So all you teachers who think you can only do one thing at a time, you see, David is an IT instructor. He works at a school and he's also a food photographer. So you can wear multiple hats. At some point during this webinar, we're going to show you how you can, build multiple competencies as a teacher. So David also discovered Shiju Olawepo, who went viral, the boy who can tell the day and date of any given year. That's amazing. I can't tell that unless I rush to Google Calendar. During this COVID-19 period, David spent most of his time organizing online coding classes for both kids and teens alike. This afternoon, David is going to take us through, as educators, a deep dive, and maybe not a deep dive, we're going to brush on a few applications, on learning applications required for literacy, numeracy, and basic science. You're going to agree with me that those are three core subjects that we can't afford to joke with. So David, please, you can share your screen. I'm going to give you the floor in a bit. I just want to repeat the topic again. Deep dive on learning applications required for literacy, numeracy, and basic science. Please enjoy the next 30 minutes with David Ogwimo.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I must say it's a pleasure to be here. And sorry, Mr. Femi is actually David Ugiomo, not Ugomo, but that's fine.
I apologize.
It's fine. I welcome everyone to this session. And from the polls and then from some of the contributions some teachers have been making, I can see that some of us already have an idea of how to use some certain applications to hold classes online. Okay, so today we'll be looking at introduction to deep dive learning on applications for literacy, numeracy, and science. So for this presentation, we have our learning objectives. So what we hope to achieve at the end of this lesson is for participants to be able to identify the tools that are required to create materials for e-learning. So whatsoever you're creating or whatsoever content you're trying to create and you need help doing all of those things, you know which of the tools you need to actually create your content, and also to be able to identify these tools that are required to create certain subjects like I've mentioned. So it doesn't have to, you don't have to, go and look and start saying, oh, I can't actually deliver my my lecture because I teach a particular subject. So this presentation will help us understand various applications and tools we can use to create our content as teachers. And then for the learning requirements, you should have a basic knowledge on general IT. Now, normally I don't include these as a basic knowledge because I sometimes assume that everybody knows what to do until I was organizing a training and I did a short video tutorial, to guide teachers on what to do. And somebody, because during the video I said, so you copy and paste. And the particular teacher was really asking me, what is the meaning of copy and pasting? I was really surprised that this person could not do a copy and paste action, which I assume this person already knew. But I believe that And today, to be honest, the teacher is really doing a lot using online platform, because teachers are also one of the most flexible people to teach, because the moment they get it, they run with it. Trust me, if you see the way this person is delivering their content now, you think that he has been doing it for a long time. And then you also need either a smartphone or a laptop. Now, why do we consider these devices when we are trying to deliver our content? As much as I am giving this presentation, I'm considering your the resources at your disposal. Now, even as teachers, if you're organizing your lessons for your children, you should also consider the devices at your children's disposal. For example, I teach programming. I also teach ICT too in my place of work. So for this online school, I find out that most of my children don't have access to laptops, but a majority of them has access to phones. So for example, you have a particular class, and then most of these devices or gadgets, the parents get them for them according to their ages. I noticed that in my class, or in a particular class, you have children with more mobile phones than laptops. So how do you now carry everyone along? For example, I want to teach a particular program. It's only available on let's say, it's only available for your laptop. You're trying to see that, okay, what about the children that don't have access to laptop? How do we train them? How do we teach them? So for example, what I did, I was teaching on PowerPoint. So what I did was I had to start teaching how to create PowerPoints, how to create slides using your laptop, and how to create slides using your mobile phone. Thank God you can actually use Microsoft PowerPoint on, sorry, someone said it's not audible. Sorry, I believe everyone can hear me clearly. Sorry about that. If you can't hear me, you might want to increase the volume of your device. So like I said, you have to consider the resources at your learner's disposal. So for example, I had to teach PowerPoint to a group of kids, but I had more people in the class who have access to mobile phone and more than those who have access to a laptop. Let's say in a class of 15, you have five students only having access to laptops, and then the rest have access to the mobile phone. How do you teach that? But you have to carry everyone along, because just like Mrs. Da Silva said, you need feedback on your assessment, like when you assess these children. Now, you have to understand that, okay, now I'm delivering this particular content using my laptop. You should know that there'll be a difference there'll be a huge difference for a child who is using a mobile phone. And then you have to understand that you're not just teaching for the sake of teaching. You want to have feedback, and you want to make sure everyone is carried along. Now, for a class that they have equal number of people that have access to mobile phone and access to laptop. So what I do is that I say, okay, today we are doing PowerPoint on our laptops. Tomorrow we are doing PowerPoint on our devices, because of the school timetable, there is no way I can say, okay, let's have separate classes. No, I have to look for a way to balance it. And thank God I can teach PowerPoint on my phone. Even when it comes to the programming, when I started teaching Scratch, I said, okay, so now I'm teaching Scratch Desktop. Everybody's supposed to install Scratch Desktop on their laptops. What I did was, okay, there is a Scratch that is available for mobile phone, but Scratch Desktop is also available for tablets. So I told my students, okay, those who have access to laptops and tablets, download Scratch Desktop. But those who have access to mobile phone, download Scratch Junior. Now I have to now start working on two different methods for teaching. So I say, okay, today we are doing Scratch Junior, tomorrow we are doing Scratch Desktop. So it's very important that you put into consideration of the learners you're trying to teach. So irrespective of the content you're delivering, you put into consideration your learners' resources. So we'll be looking at how do we create content using our mobile phone. Thank God for the modern day smartphone. Is actually a blessing to us, and there are lots of ways you can actually use your mobile devices to deliver lessons. Trust me, once you're even done delivering those lessons, you will be finding it difficult to believe that you actually created that content using your phone. So here are some of the tools and applications you look at when you're trying to create content using your mobile phones. So the first is you can, for example, if as a teacher, you already have your class content, you have your content in a soft copy, which is your Microsoft Word, you already have your copy as a Word document. You can easily convert this content in your Word to your Microsoft PowerPoint. All right. So, for example, if you have your Microsoft, some people still keep writing on the screen, so I'm disabling the screen annotation. So, for example, if you have your content in soft copy, you can easily convert that content to PowerPoint and have them in a slide format. Now, as teachers, one of the ways we deliver our lectures, we also make sure that we have instructional materials. So once you convert those lessons to your PowerPoint slides, you can attach your instructional materials next to them and make a video of it while you're explaining that note. You can do that with your phone by having a screen recorder. Now you can download the InShot screen recorder from the Play Store, or you can for some devices, like my device, it already has a screen recorder, so I don't need to download InShot screen recorder anymore. I don't need to download that. So all I just need to do is go to my notification pane, and there I can easily record my screen and talk over those notes. So what you do is that you convert those lessons to PowerPoint, do on your screen recorder, have your a form of a microphone or something, or maybe an earphone. The resources are at your disposal. If you don't have a budget to start going to start shopping for materials that you are going to use, you can actually use the materials at your disposal. So the first video I actually made during the tutorials I was running for teachers. So what I did a screen recording. They were asking, how do you schedule a meeting on Zoom? How do you organize your Zoom meetings and everything? So what I just did is I turned on my screen recorder. I went to the Zoom app. I did everything, and then I saved the video on my phone, edited the video, and sent back the video to them. Okay, so please, I would love for the technical people to help me put my slides up, because my laptop is currently disconnected. So, for example, another tool you need, or another application you need for your phone, is the InShot video editor. Now, the InShot video editor is an application that you can actually use to edit the video content you've created using your mobile phone. Now, let's say while you were creating your content, you were doing that either on your PowerPoint or your Microsoft Word, there were some errors, or maybe that had to do with you stayed too long presenting, because at the same time, as an instructor, you are putting into consideration a time factor. You're saying, okay, I'm delivering a lesson to a particular group of people, and I don't want to talk for more than 10 minutes. Now, while shooting your video, the truth is that the time you press play, let's say you start recording on your phone, it's counting before you arrange yourself. But all you just need to do after shooting that video is use your InShot video editor on your phone and edit the video. To edit it like a professional, you can add subtitles to your videos. You can add effect. You can add transition. You can add a little bit of animation. Now, the InShot video editor is a free app on the Play Store. Also, the InShot screen recorder for Microsoft PowerPoint and Microsoft Word. Yes, please. The Microsoft PowerPoint and the Microsoft Word, you can also get them from the Play Store and use the free version, though you still need to purchase. But with the free version, you can actually do all of this I'm talking about without having to spend a dime. So another thing is that, so when you want to edit your video, you already know that, oh, I'm using my InShot recorder to edit my videos. Okay, so now another thing I try to emphasize on is that when creating lesson content, you're trying to build a video. Now, as much as you know that, oh, I will edit this, and you keep making mistakes, I would not advise that. And stay on the fact that, oh, I'm going to edit this video when I'm done. No, don't do that. A good video is what actually leads to good editing. So after editing those videos, the thing that you need to do is that you make sure, after shooting your video, you shoot your video perfectly. As teachers, if there's one trait that is common amongst teachers, is teachers are most times perfectionists. So you try to bring that into what you're doing. Make sure that your camera angles and the lighting for your room is very much okay. And that so that the content you're delivering or the sound, make sure you're in a quiet environment. For example, when you're presenting a video that has to do with your sound, make sure you're in a quiet environment. Sometimes when I shoot, when we get to the laptop version, we'll talk about that. You can add some noise reduction effects to reduce noise. But even when you still add all of those effects, it is still not as as good as when you actually shoot that video in a quiet place. So irrespective of any editing you're going to do to your video, irrespective of what you're trying to achieve, you have to make sure that your recording is perfect. You have to make sure that your recording is perfect. That is what is going to determine what you're going to achieve. Now, why I added Autodesk Sketchbook here? Autodesk Sketchbook is function more like, is like it says, it's a sketchbook. You can make your drawings. You can actually do advanced drawings there. Now, an app like this can be used to teach fine art, but I don't want you to stop in fine arts. Now, why I'm saying that is that now, for example, when you're recording your screen, you might not be able to, you wouldn't be using Zoom at that moment to say, okay, I'm going to share my screen and do the screen annotation. For example, you're trying to solve maths. Sorry, let me move through my slides. So please, I'm on the next slide now on the InShot recorder. So this is what the InShot recorder looks like. If you can see the InShot screen recorder, I don't know if the technical are actually projecting that at the moment. So you see, you can easily download the InShot screen recorder from the Play Store, and then this is what it looks like. Okay, and then this is what the video editor looks like. So please, I'm on the next slide now, like the next 2 slides. Sorry, I'm not sharing my slides because of the power outages. So exactly. So this is what the screen, the InShot screen recorder looks like. So the next one is the InShot. So you see, for example, you see what this person is doing here. If you see this picture, the picture by your right, you see that this person is actually recording himself playing Subway Surf. And trust me, you might think that this person is just playing, but if you go online and search for how to play Subway Surf on an Android device, you'll be surprised you see this video. And this is just somebody recording himself playing that game, and then is uploading to YouTube, and that person has massive views. So you have InShots, and then this Autodesk, you can see what, please, can we go to the slide for the Autodesk Sketchbook, please, so that everyone is carried along. Thank you. The next slide, please. Now, someone is asking, how can someone screen record? Now, if you download the InShot screen recorder, what you can do is, you can, once you install the app on your phone, you can, once you click on it, it will show as a faded attach icon on your phone. So it will be on your phone by default. And then it's not so obvious on the screen. Now, when you tap on the button, it will pop out the menu, and then you can see for record screen, or take a snapshot, a screenshot of your screen or something. Now, Autodesk, aside from using it to teach fine art, my slides are showing right now. So aside from using Autodesk to teach fine art, trust me, if you go online and Google artwork design with Autodesk, you'll be surprised what the person is doing with their phones. Now, for one, I believe that fine art we should start teaching kids, because I'm really passionate about kids. So I love working with kids. So you hear me mention pupils, kids, and all. So I feel that we should start teaching kids how to make designs. Like, for example, at a point during last time, before the pandemic, I started teaching primary 1 on how to use Microsoft Paint. And now most of the challenges I give them is that, okay, guys, I want you to go to your art room, come to the computer room, and replicate what your art teacher taught you. And after explaining what you can do with each of the tools, now I don't have to be an artist to do that. But if you explain the tools the children would use to achieve some things, the children that are artistic will surprise you. Trust me, when you see drawings made by children, you'll be surprised. And then for the Autodesk, while you're recording your screen, you can actually teach mathematics. So you see, like, I have my Pythagoras theorem. I have it on my screen already. So I did this morning, and I just did this, and then I screenshotted it. So you can teach mathematics here. Why? Because you can actually write on your phone, because your phone already uses the pen touch technology. So you don't need a pen. You don't need an extra gadget for what you will need for a laptop. Because if you were working on a laptop, you will need that. So I think we're on our next slide now. We can take our poll here. So we're going to take our poll. So can we have the poll? Can we have the poll out for us to test our knowledge on? Now, what we just did is how to create content using your mobile phone. Now, I'm also going to talk through on how to create content using a computer. So because the same software or applications that are available for phones are most times not available for laptops. So it depending on the company or that are producing those applications or softwares. Sorry, I can't see the poll. Or please, can I see the poll? So let's take the poll for the first section. The poll for the first section. All right. So I think everyone should be taking that poll right now. So let's go. I'm sorry, I can't see the poll. Let me try and see if my laptop will come on now. Sorry, I'm trying to connect my laptop so I can see what is going on. So please, let's take the poll. There are just 2 questions just to test our knowledge so far. So there are so many other tools out there you can use. Now, if you're shooting your phone video, please always be mindful of the camera angle. You can, we are actually going to have another section, maybe later on, organized by the foundation on how to train teachers on how to use, how to properly use some of these softwares and applications we just mentioned. Please, I think the poll is up. I can't see answers here. Please, can we answer? I can't see people answering. Sorry. Okay. Yes, please, you can use Autodesk Sketchbook on your phone. Are people answering? All right. Okay, please answer the poll. Please take the poll. Please take the poll. All right. Someone is asking if you can take if you can, yes, you can download Autodesk Sketchbook. You can download it for your phone. Yes, you can download for the phone version. Yes, you can download. It's actually the phone. You can download for both your phone and your laptop. So it's because you can use it. I have one on my phone. I use that personally just to play around because I love creative stuff. All right. So I believe a majority of us are done with this. So okay, I guess this my account is not made the host here. Please make my account the co-host, the David laptop, please, so that I can see the answers to the poll. But let's move on because of our time. Now, how do you create content using your laptop? How do you create content using your laptop? So can we go to next slide? Can we have next slide, please? So these are some of the tools you can actually use to create your content for laptop. So now, instead of having to download Autodesk Sketchbook, you see I included Microsoft Paint there. So Microsoft Paint is a good substitute for Autodesk if you don't want to download the Autodesk Sketchbook. So with Microsoft Paint, drawing your angles in Microsoft Paint will be quite easy. Also, to be easy for Autodesk, depending on how well you know how to use those tools. But I think Microsoft Paint is basic, and it's pretty straightforward, and you can do all of that using your Microsoft Paint. And now, when you're trying to record also on your computer, there are softwares that you need to record your screen. Now, I try to make sure that because we are trying to also cut down costs especially for projects that we are running ourselves as educators. So the Open Broadcaster software is used to record screen. Now, there are other softwares out there that I can use, but this Open Broadcaster software, also called OBS, is an open source software. So it means it's free. So you don't have to pay for it, or you just need to download it and learn how to use it, and then you start recording from your screen. So it's a good way to record your screen. So like I mentioned, for creating content with your phones. So when you have your content on your laptop, you can do the same thing from Word, transfer them to PowerPoint, arrange them properly. Where do you bring instructional materials? Talk through them, create your video, time them, edit your videos. Now, Adobe Premiere Pro is a software you can use on your laptop, but it's a paid software. I have this on my own laptop, but it's a paid software and it is quite expensive. But there are some plans that if you can subscribe to, but if you can't afford the Adobe Premiere Pro, what you can also do is that take your video you've created on your phone and edit it on the video you've created on your laptop, take it from your laptop to your mobile phone and edit it there. You can actually edit that video there. Also, you see, InShot is quite powerful because that's why I keep emphasizing on the fact that please make sure that the raw shot, when I say raw shot, I mean the original video. the original recording, make sure it is perfect. Make sure that all you need is minimal editing. Don't rely on, oh, I can edit this out. No, if it takes you having to repeat those things over and over now, because you're already at a disadvantage. Now, why did I say that? You don't have adequate resources to actually shoot a proper video. So you're already at a disadvantage. So you have to make sure that you shoot, for example, the first video I did, trust me, the feedback wasn't something I was expecting. Why? Because I didn't put into consideration some things that I would have initially. For example, I recorded that video, let's say, I think around 2 a.m. So it was very quiet because I was trying to do that while it was still quiet and make sure that my recording is perfect and everything. But I was using a headphone, and because it was quiet, I could hear myself clearly while I was taking the lecture. I think I was teaching pupils in primary 1 on how to use Microsoft Paint online. So like a continuation of what we've been doing. So while I recorded that class, it was quiet. I could hear myself clearly. There was nothing wrong with the sound and everything. I was good. I was happy. I edited my video. I even edited my video, entered the topic and everything. So, but when I sent this video, I didn't play this video outside. I didn't play this video after that. After I left my work desk. So I sent this video. I uploaded this video on YouTube, and apparently the audio was poor. Really very poor. I mean, very poor. Even I myself could attest to that. But initially, it sounded clear to me. There was nothing wrong with recording when I recorded it. So after recording your video, please make sure you play it for someone else. Play it outside. Okay, what if that child is trying to read while the younger brother is watching TV? So you have to put those things into consideration. Even after recording in a very quiet place, you have to make sure that you're audible. I had to redo that video. But thank God I was able to redo that. But the initial feedback from the parents was not really, it wasn't really funny, but I was able to, look for a way around it. Now, Dudley is another software for creating animated video. Now, people use this software, or most people use it for marketing, for digital marketing. But trust me, there are lots you can actually do with Dudley, even as an educator. Now, because why am I mentioning this? How do we include, how do we make sure that as teachers, even while we are focusing on online learning, it's still inclusive for every student? Now, I'm not a special needs expert, special needs children expert, but I've had the opportunity to work with them. And what I will advise schools, if as head of schools who are present here, is that the truth is that even in the normal class, when you're having them together, you still try to also create extra time for them, because why? They need special needs. So what the school can do is to actually create a curriculum that fits them, and then invest in things like this so that they can even train their teachers on how to use this to deliver content. And I happen to know a special needs educator as my friend. So we were talking this week. So she called me and was talking about how she has been running her content with one of her pupils. So she was thinking, oh, how can I introduce him to ICT? I was like, oh, I've been working with this boy for like how many terms now? And what I have been doing most time is that anytime he comes to the computer room, I allow him play around with Scratch Desktop. I allow him. Now, I'm not directly teaching him anything, but I'm allowing him, I'm giving him the room for flexibility. So he has mastered a couple of things that I don't need to teach him. I said, if you ask him to teach him now, I'm going to build on that. And trust me, he's going to do it perfectly. He's going to, because even during this pandemic, he was able to attend a few of the, they were able to do a few of the, he was able to attend a few of the classes also. So what you have to do is that as schools, please create a curriculum that fits these children, a curriculum that can actually include all of them. Because when I read that article of parents complaining that that these children should be involved. Sorry, let me try and share my screen. So I was like, okay, so what are the solutions? Now, as teachers, I believe everyone here can actually provide a solution. You can drop your suggestions on the chat box, please, while I try to share my screen. How do you think we can include special needs children? How do you think we can include them? How do we make sure that nobody is being left out? I'd like to know that. Please, let's share our thoughts on that on the on the chat section. So I think I'm sharing my screen now. Awesome. So please, you can share, how do you think we can involve special need children? How do you think we can involve them? So my own suggestion, create a curriculum for them, train teachers. If these children are already affiliated with a school, train their teachers on how to use this, to use some of these facilities to create creative content that they can relate with. Now, which bring us to integrating. All right. So this is what Microsoft Paint looks like. So I'm sharing my screen now. So I was supposed to talk about this. So please, I still need your suggestion, please, so that, you know, we are problem solvers. You know, the Commissioner for Education just said that. So anytime we are faced with a problem, we look for it, we provide a solution and not complain about it. Let's look at our resources. What is available to us? Let us use what we have. And then we need to, because the truth is that if you're dealing with a special need kid who you're trying to teach how to develop social skills, you're trying to teach that child, okay, this is how to develop social skills. Now, what you're trying to achieve is, you're not just trying to download a video that is recorded from another country and give that child to watch. Now, that video might help that child, but the truth is that the child, if that child already knows you, that child will pay closer attention to a video that you as the instructor has created. So even you as an instructor, it will help that child relate with you. You know, that is why I'm confident that if as teachers, we leave this place today and we make ourselves creators. Now, when I say creators, I mean content creators, educational content creators, because there is a void there for Nigerian content on YouTube. So, for example, you go to YouTube, you say, okay, I want to learn this. Now, you will see that delivered by someone from another country. But what about what we can relate to? So don't be afraid. Sorry, someone is saying it's Dudley free. No, it isn't free. It isn't free. But because of the pandemic, I think the basic plan, a one-off payment is 25,000 naira currently. But I don't know if the price has changed, but I saw that some time ago. So, but as educators, you don't have to worry. Okay, if I keep uploading on my YouTube, who is going to watch my videos? Trust me, people are going to watch it because people love to watch things that they can easily relate to. Now, for example, okay, what will happen if you see a flyer? You're invited for a church program or a function, and that flyer has white people there. And this is a program that is going to happen in Nigeria, where the majority of us here are black. So, you know, there's a funny reaction you get, not because you're a racist. No, it's because that particular design does not relate to you who is seeing it. So that's the same thing applies to our education. So as you're trying to deliver your content, trust me, you are trying to make your content relatable. You're creating for a specific group of people. Now, you might have other people consuming your content, but your major target audience are people here in Nigeria, in West Africa, people that share your curriculum, people that you can say, okay, this is how I'm going to deliver this topic. I mean content that goes beyond your school, your school environment. I mean content that someone can watch elsewhere. Because trust me, now the truth is that parents are starting to embrace the whole idea of allowing their children access to internet, because this is where it has taken us to. And also as a counselor, you who is functioning as a counselor, you've not lost your job. I think now is the time for you to start creating content. Create your counseling content and put on YouTube and still send to your children so your children can watch. Even as a language expert, as a phonics teacher, record sound, make videos. Now you start making the videos you've been sending to those children. You know, you can say, oh, go and this is a diphthong. Now is the time for you to be the creator. I feel that this is an opportunity for all of us to start learning. You know, and now is even the time to start thinking of, okay, so let's say we resume back to school. This is a beautiful time to introduce flip learning. Now, flip learning, I'm sure a lot of us already understand the concepts of flip learning. So flip learning is having the content of a topic delivered to the children before the class. So for example, you can have your flip learning content and say, okay, before tomorrow's mathematics class, I'm going to create a mathematics video and send to the children so that when they come to class tomorrow, they already know what to do. So this is the time for you to start thinking beyond, okay, just delivering. So for me, for example, if I teach a class, so for example, I don't have enough storage space to record my class. And some children have been like, oh, Mr. David, I don't really understand this. I'll be like, okay, so don't worry. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create the video of this class, how to do this, how to do that, and upload it to my YouTube channel and make it a private video. You can send a link to people for YouTube and say only people with the link can view that particular video. So I'll be like, I'll send this video to you. So I'm creating my content that way. Now the second poll is up. Which of these software can be used to record screen on a computer? Okay, so a lot of people are choosing some other, some people are saying InShot Screen Recorder. Yes, InShot Screen Recorder is for mobile phones. I intentionally added this to this part. InShot Screen Recorder is majorly for phones, for mobile phones. Why use Open Broadcaster softwares for your laptops? Okay, so Screen Grabber, I just use that as just a random example. So that one majorly used to work with BlackBerry way back. All right, other tools to consider for creating your video. If you want to take your content to another level, you might want to consider a good microphone. You might want to consider a good microphone because you're trying to make sure that I'm going to stop this result here. I think I've shared the answer already. So a good microphone is something you want to consider. Why? Because you're trying to make sure that your people can hear you clearly. You're trying to pass a message, especially for language people. I don't understand how you're going to teach a language class. You're trying to teach pronunciation and you don't have a microphone. Please, there are microphones you can get. I think there's one at 9,000 Naira. It's a Boya microphone. You can connect it to your phone. That's the beauty of that. You don't even need a jack to connect it. And the wire is really long. I mean the cable for the microphone. You can put it on a tripod and record yourself while you deliver your lessons. So a mouse, for those who are using laptop, please, because of there are so many different kinds of laptop. If you have a very good and powerful laptop, you don't have to worry about your glide pad. But there are some laptops that, trust me, their glide pad, you can be trying to move your mouse and it's actually doing something else, okay? Sorry, all right, so another thing to consider is external storage device. Trust me, you're going to run out of space. You're going to run out of space on your phone, even on your laptop. You might want to consider an external storage device. And another example is that if you can't afford any for now, Google Drive currently, if you have a Gmail account, it gives you access to 15 gig of cloud storage. So you can actually upload most of your files there. So that you can always revert back to them. So, but if you want to take your content creation to another level, you personally as teachers try to invest in some of these things if you can afford them. But if you can't afford them, make use of what you have. Try to make sure that it is something that you can still work with. So I'm going to move to the next slide. So I think we've taken the poll for this question. Now, integrating external platform for e-learning. So I noticed in the course of my class, I've mentioned some of these. So Google Classroom, Mrs. Da Silva touched on this. So Google Classroom is a beautiful platform to use for organizing your classes. Now, there's a paid version of it, and then there's some that are allocated to NGOs and schools. In fact, they were making it free because of the pandemic. So if you're a school, you can try applying for the Google Suite education plan. So you might be able to get it for free if you present the required documents they will need from you. And then for assessment specifically, now, irrespective of any platform you're using to deliver your class, I will strongly advise you use Google Forms. Now, not just for your assessment, but also for your assignments, because imagine you are running you're running your classes on WhatsApp, and you say, okay, send your assignment to my WhatsApp, or send your answers to my WhatsApp. So me personally, it's not sustainable. I feel it's just a waste of your phone storage. So what you should consider is create a Google form that will even take in their names and will capture their responses, and set a deadline for that Google form. There are extensions you can use on Google Forms to achieve all of that, and say, okay, this form is only going to be open from Monday 2 p.m. to Tuesday 12 p.m. So when it gets to that time, the form will stop accepting response. You'll be able to get all the assignments of your children in an Excel format. You can even start looking at them one after the other and know what and know what scores you can easily, you know, and give to those pupils. So Google Drive, like I mentioned, if you're using WhatsApp, you're trying to also use Google Drive. For example, you don't have enough space on your phone. You can actually upload the video you created either on YouTube or Google Drive. Now, Google Drive is limited. Remember I said 15 gig. Now, if you don't want to use Google Drive, creating a YouTube account does not cost you anything. There are ways to start up a YouTube channel. There are ways to go about it. You want to be a pro educator, content creator on YouTube, there are ways to go about it, but you can just use your Gmail, have your YouTube account, upload your video there, copy the link of that video and paste it on WhatsApp and tell the children to follow that link to watch that video. Instead of also crowding the parents' phone or the children's devices or eating up their storage spaces. No, you're not trying to do that. But when you merge this channel, you are integrating this to this. How do you merge this with this? Okay, so you make sure you're using your Google Classroom, your Google Forms, your Google Drive, your YouTube, and then why Vimeo is there, if you want to start saying, okay, I want to charge for this. Now, I'll say this and then we'll be wrapping up here. So now, putting videos free out there is not just free. I want you to understand that, because if you don't put your content out there, how will people know what you're actually delivering? How will people actually know your worth? So if you put those videos out there on YouTube and make them public, and thank God for YouTube way of rewarding content creators. With time, if you hit a particular landmark of views and interaction and comments people have made on your videos, YouTube, you can now start monetizing the videos you post on your YouTube channels and start making money from your YouTube personally. And trust me, if you do it well, I'm not trying to make any teacher leave their place of work, but you might start making good money. I mean, when I mean good money, I mean money that is more than enough for you and your family if you have one. So, and then Zoom is a great way to, I'm sure majority of the people in this class already are using Zoom to deliver their content. So Zoom is a great way to hold online meetings or online classes. And then with the screen annotates, the one people were trying to write on my screen, is a great way to teach. So for example, if I'm teaching a child to do something, all I just need to do is use my annotates to circle that thing and say, okay, this is where I want you to go to. Or I can use it to teach mathematics too. I can use my Zoom to teach mathematics. Let's say I'm doing an explanation or the workings of a particular thing. I can do all of that using my Zoom and Microsoft Teams. So they work hand in hand. So I believe that we've come to the end of this section. Thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to the solutions and the suggestions that are made on the comment section on how we can actually solve this problem and work together as educators. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks for having me. Thank you.
Wow. Mr. David, I won't call your surname because I don't want to murder the name again. But please, can we give him a love clap? I think it is called love clap now. That is,
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. David. Wow, awesome session. Yes, let's show some reaction on the platform. Insightful session. Well done, Mr. David. Awesome, Mr. David. Great job, sir. Superb presentation. Thank you for this session. Wow, this is very explanatory and straight to the point. Thank you, Mr. I will not call the name. Wow, just as expected. I can't catch up. Okay, wonderful, great job. All right, so thank you very much, Mr. David. It's an awesome experience listening to you. Yes, you have his contact details right on the screen. If you want to reach out to him for more information, yes, you can. However, we're going to, can you stop? Okay, so I can take over. However, we're working on getting another session, which is going to be a closed session. We're going to have another session where we can deep dive into some of the applications that Mr. David has discussed. We're going to have that time to look at, in practical terms, you're going to have your computers or your phones We're going to share screen. We're probably going to have breakout rooms where we'll have somebody coordinating each room to ensure that you get to the bottom of this. And you're going to make sample content so that you can share with us and we'll see what you have actually made. That way we can perfect the learning. We're about 9 minutes to the official closing, but I'm going to have to crave your indulgence to extend for about 15 minutes so that we can take questions. We have a lot of questions from our participants, and I'm taking the questions directed to Mrs. Da Silva first. And after that, we will then take the ones for Mr. David. I know Ovigwe already sent me, she extracted the questions from the platform and then she sent me the questions. Mrs. Da Silva, are you ready to take these questions? I'm going to just read out the questions and then you can put on your microphone so that you can take the questions. Please, we cannot take all questions. We only extracted a few. We're happy to take on more questions on the WhatsApp platform, so that we can continue to continue this learning experience. Idowu Veronica Okweyemi to Mrs. Da Silva. In this pandemic, how do we get good feedback and assessment from students, especially when they are not fully participating in the online lesson? How do teachers continue without being discouraged by the nonchalant attitudes of the parents and teachers? Thank you, Ma. There's another question. How do we teach students in the public schools using these technologies? And how can one assess pupils whose parents are not ICT compliant? I'm going to stop there, respond to this, then we'll take the second question. Thank you, Ma. Okay, to the first one, this is to Mrs. Veronica Okweyemi. Is that the one you asked me? I'm sorry, I lost contact. My answer to Ms. Veronica Okweyemi is when the ones who are participating get honest and specific feedback, they tell others, and gradually they accept that you genuinely care about their learning, and then that's the answer to that one, because I think she was expressing skepticism in terms of the integrity of the whole process of assessment online. Have I answered that question for Ms. Veronica? I don't know. I didn't hear the order in which you called it, Mr. Femi, so I just okay. Let me run through that again.
Okay.
The question is, how do we get good feedback and assessment from students, especially because they are not participating fully in the online lesson? And she's asking how teachers will continue without being discouraged by the nonchalant attitudes of the students and parents.
Okay.
But I actually think the answer to that question is a bit straightforward. You can't assess somebody that you have not taught, or someone that is not participating in learning. So there is no point in, and then you want to assess. Then we look at the nonchalant attitudes of students and parents. I don't know, Ms. Da Silva, do you think that is within our control as teachers, the nonchalant attitude of teachers and parents?
That's it by Ms. Veronica Okweyemi, the first person.
Yes, please.
Yes. Like I said, you see, it starts out with skepticism. When we started, a lot of our parents too were in that position because they believed that they were not prepared for it, and they weren't prepared. They did not prepare for the fact that we were prepared as a school. So, but when they saw that for the few children that participated, we were able to give qualitative feedback that, okay, you got this right, but you need to attend to this. Or if we found out that they didn't understand what we were teaching, we retaught. And parents talk to each other, children talk to each other. And when they decide to spread that, wow, I'm enjoying the lessons, or the lessons are exciting, and they're really telling me what I need to do, gradually we had the buy-in of a lot of our parents. So I think it's about lighting a little fire and letting it grow.
Okay, thank you very much, Ma. In addition to that, you need a lot of stakeholder engagement. You need to find a way to carry your parents along. You need to for most schools did a lot of parent-teacher engagement, so that they can get a buy-in. Now, it used to be 80% the school, 20% the parents. I think the reverse is now the case. We, the parents, are now the ones doing 80% of teaching, while the school is taking the balance of 20%.
No, it's a 50-50.
Oh, it's a 50-50.
Yes, the teachers are doing so much, and they're no longer closing hours to feedback.
That's true. That's true. Let's take Abdulsalam Abdul Karim's question. As a teacher, how should one ensure the authenticity of an online assessment? That is, an assessment done by a child without parents' intervention or use of resource materials to help them answer questions correctly. And the other question is, so that question is asking for the integrity. I think you mentioned something about that already. The second question is, what are the major problems of feedback management system for online learning? That is the challenges. I believe knowing the problems can help us have an effective feedback. The major challenges of feedback, online feedback assessment.
Okay, I'm going to lump it together for Abdulsalam and the other person. Now, I said that you have to gain the trust of the child and the parents. That is not about the score. Because a lot of Nigerians, I'm sorry, I'm not being derogatory, but a lot of us, it's just about the score. It's not about the actual learning. And that's not quite the best, because if it's learning, it's permanent. So when you observe that, when the children observe that you tell them exactly what went well with their answer, and then it could have been better if you did this one, then they relax and they are more integral. Then because you realize that when the teacher really cares about your learning and is telling you specifics, then you're ignited by your lessons and integrity will build up over time, similar to the first one. And then for the problem of feedback management, what I said is that where there's a will, there's a way. If the communication of the feedback from the teacher is clear and age appropriate, the learners will improve. A lot of times when we're communicating with our learners and our parents, it's ambiguous language and just, okay, she's doing well. How? What is she doing well? What isn't she doing well? What do I have to do to make her improve? What are you, the teacher, doing? Are you giving the extra time? Are you calling back? Are you giving some tips? Are you doing some video extra backup? So it's a two-way street, but clear communication, age-appropriate communication, given at the right timing, they all lead to an improvement in the feedback management system, from my point of view.
Thank you for that. Thank you for the response, Ma. I hope Mr. Abdul Karim has been satisfied, answered. There's a comment here about the same, I think it's just a follow-up comment. I'll just take this. Veronica Okoyemi, apparently she works in a public school and the employer wants them to continue the online teaching, but the parents and students are not forthcoming. Let me say that the public school system is very peculiar. So it's difficult to judge the effectiveness of virtual teaching using that space alone. However, you have a lot of things that you can do, right? And this goes to the community engagement where the school is located. You have your SBMC, you have your parent forum, and you have your head teachers. So it's a leadership and community stakeholder management. Your head teachers need to meet with the SBMC, with the parent forum, and carry out a community sensitization. If it is possible to identify local organizations around your school who can support your virtual learning in that and show them how you want them to engage. Let them know that it's not going to cost them an arm and leg, right? And if they tell you that data is a problem, this and that, you can also work with your school leadership and community leadership to create a solution. Right? We can talk more about this. Maybe one of our Insta Live sessions, we're going to address community engagement, stakeholder engagement to promote virtual teaching and learning during this pandemic, especially for public school teachers and leaders. Okay, I'd like to move on quickly to Mr. David. There are some questions that we've identified, and I think I'm just going to give him the floor to read the questions out and quickly address the questions in about 7 minutes so that we can then go on to the final segment for today, which is a closing brief and announcement. Mr. David, you have the floor. Thank you. You'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I have. So I saw some of the questions, and someone was asking which is better. Should we use InShot Recorder or Edu Recorder? Now, how I personally interact with downloading apps from either Play Store or software is that the first thing you have to look at is what are the reviews of that app? What are the reviews like? So when you go to Play Store, for example, you check the reviews of a particular app, and then you check how people are giving feedback there. So that is actually what determines the app that you should choose. Now, if you so what I did now is I quickly check the Edu Recorder, and so I don't spoil anyone's business, but if the rating speaks for themselves. So you check InShot Recorder, and then you check Edu Recorder, you find out which has better ratings, and then you see from people who are using that app. So that's any app you download on Play Store, please always make sure you go through the comments and the ratings. The ratings are very important because people who are displeased will easily come there and talk about how displeased they are with that application. So that's actually how to solve that. And then someone also asked what application can we use for marking? Now, if your child sends or if your student sends an assignment in a PDF format, you can actually use, for my phone, I have Adobe Acrobat. So with Adobe Acrobat, it has a function like a pen. So the first time a particular teacher sent me a pupil's assignment, was it on a picture or something? So I just opened it in my Adobe Adobe Acrobat, sorry. And I turned on the pen function and changed the color to red. And I just marked over it and added a score and sent it back to her. So she was surprised. I said, oh, you can easily do this. But what I advised, I was like, the truth is that this might not be sustainable. So what you have to do is that you have to learn how to use Google Forms very well so that you don't have to come and do all of this. You don't have to come and start going through that old process of doing that. So to creating Google Forms, someone is asking, but because of our time, we're limited by our time. So I can't say that I can start teaching on how to use Google Form at the moment. Sorry, I can't do that. Let me check other question, please. So I can't, but what you can do is that this Google Form is really easy to master. Once you get it, you see there, and hopefully when we start the training section, I might be able to, give more lecture on that. So is Dudley downloadable on your PC? Yes, Dudley is actually a desktop software. So it's not a software for mobile phone. So Dudley is actually for the laptop. So you actually use Dudley for laptop. And then how do I create a YouTube account? So those are part of the trainings we are talking about, but it's simple. If you have a Gmail account, you automatically have a YouTube account. So if you're using an Android phone, for example, you go to YouTube, you notice that your Gmail is already logged in there. I mean, on the YouTube app. So you can't even use YouTube on an Android phone without a Gmail. So by default, you have an account. So once you tap on a button at the top of the screen that has the video icon to show you how to upload a video. So creating a YouTube is now creating a channel is different from creating a YouTube account. So creating a channel is different. So that means, okay, I'm creating this channel as a brand. I'm creating this channel as a business. This is what I want to be able to achieve with this channel. So it's different. So channel is different from the YouTube account. All right. I think that's all the questions for now. So thank you very much. Or am I missing any, Mr. Femi?
No, I don't think you're missing any. Thank you very much. Already people are asking for another opportunity to have a deep dive. So Mr. David is available. We're going to work with him to make sure we'll come back to us as to when we're going to have another deep dive. I'm going to share my screen now so that we can take the final survey for the day. I'm going to post that into the chat room. Would appreciate, it's the first of 7 series, the first of 7 series. And we're going to rely on your feedback, your honest feedback. We know there's always a room for improvement. So I want you to please take a moment to fill this survey so that we can hear from you I've just sent it to the group. Please take the survey. Click on the link and take the survey so that we can hear from you. Next week is going to be another time. It's going to be another time to share knowledge, and I'm saying share knowledge because what you've come to learn today may not necessarily be new knowledge, but it might just be a better way of doing what you already do. And for some of us, yes, it's new knowledge, and we are happy that we've been able to impact that, okay? So while I'm going to thank the two facilitators for today, sincerely, Mrs. Fumila da Silva, Mr. David Ogoimo, I'm sorry, I'm going to get that perfect very soon. I'd like to also introduce quickly to us the facilitators for the next session, right? And from what you can see on your screen, we're going to be addressing another thematic area, which has to do with adapting your school curriculum. Today we have talked about the tools, right, for blended learning. Actually, we've actually talked about the tools for virtual learning and so on. Next week, we're going to look at how to adapt your school curriculum to meet blended learning requirements. We're also going to look at the learning environment design, right? The way you design your learning environment will determine how much of learning, or can influence how much of learning takes place. So in this virtual distance learning period, we need to look at, in specific terms, how to design the learning environment. And we're going to have two veterans. Mrs. Mumitulu Alalade is an educator by all means. And funny enough, she's also a public servant. So for those of us who are public servants, we can see that it's not just teaching in the classroom that matters, but what you make of your skill and your profession, okay? John Ovigwe, please post the link to the WhatsApp, the link that they need to use to join the WhatsApp groups. People are asking to know the link for the WhatsApp group. The link will be posted shortly. You can join the WhatsApp community so that learning can continue. We can take questions and we can address some of your questions. The second facilitator for next week, Thursday, is Mr. Louis Olubanjo. He's a lead consultant, Global Relevance Education and Development Initiative. He's also a veteran educator. These are all members of the BAF faculty. So day in, day out, they give their all, to support learning at the faculty. So please, we would like to thank everyone for joining us today. I know that we've gone way past our time, about 10 minutes past our time. We really hope that what we shared with you today met your expectation or maybe exceeded your expectation. Please let us know in the feedback survey that we have launched. Take a moment to fill the survey, and we hope that you will encourage someone to join us next week. It's not too late to register. Registration is at bumiadedayofoundation.org/webinar series. bumiadedayofoundation.org/webinar series. You can also join us on our Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram, which is at Bumi Adedayo Foundation. That's the same name we use on Facebook at Bumi Adedayo Foundation. Leave a DM behind. Send us a DM. We're going to respond to you within a few minutes, and we are always available to take your question. The survey link will be posted again. It's a link. It's not a form. When you follow the link, like Mr. David has told us, use Google Form to take surveys so that you don't send it to WhatsApp, right? Follow the link. Just fill in what you need to, your feedback concerning today, and then we will get it at the back end. Also, the link to join the WhatsApp has been posted. Finally, I would like to thank, again, the board of Bumi Adedayo Foundation. I've seen a lot of them online. Mrs. Yemisi Adedayo, Mr. Tunde Akinleye, Mrs. Olayinka Adedayo, that's a chairman board of trustees. I see that Adekunle Adedayo. I see Mr. Lawson, member of our strategy group committee. Thank you all for joining. We're happy that we had this first episode, and we look forward to next week when we have the second episode. Until then, I would like to advise and encourage us all to keep pushing. It is important to get everybody learning, and the pandemic is no longer an excuse. Rather, it is a blessing. because it is allowing us to express our creativity, learn new skills, and explore new grounds. So until next week, I'd like to say thank you everyone once again for joining. Have a good evening. Have a good evening.